Hi there, my name is Bock. I work for Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and next January actually there will be my 30th anniversary working for the company. I'm also a co-founder of the IT for IT standard, and hence the IT for IT board asked me to share my thoughts and my passion, my experience with the IT for IT standard and working on it. As a co-founder, I had the pleasure 5 years ago to give this idea of the value chain the birth and then nurse it through childhood to the first development of the reference architecture before we actually turned it over to the open group about 2 years ago for an official launch. Now, when talking about IT for IT, typically this blue box iconized reference architecture model comes to mind, but this is very much focused on the what and how to questions that are very important to get efficiency into IT. I'm personally a little bit more focused and passionate about the why questions. And that's why I would like to talk a little bit more from the strategic side, a little bit more demystify the so-called digital transformation. That is a big hype right now and everybody is talking about it, and I think IT for IT has quite a bit to say about that particular topic and enable actually IT for the digital transformation. When we look back the last 20 years, IT typically operated under a plan, build, run paradigm, where you think about the services, you build them out, you throw it over the fence, and you run it for the business. That works well for technology type services. So you build up new technologies and you deliver the technology to the service, to the business, rather than the service to the business. And when you think about service lifecycle already, you start thinking whether this paradigm still works. And now when we think about the digital transformation, it's going even further because you have much more flexibility, much more autonomous federation of things in the enterprise that need to talk with each other. So the management paradigm becomes even more complex and more difficult to be done. When we think about the why, we think about how do we need to change the way IT needs to operate in such an environment. And two recent trends come to mind that have a lot to do with the change way. The one is how to build software as a key component of a service, aka DevOps Agile. And the other one is how to actually consume services in such an environment, aka cloud. And now we need to think about how does IT for IT actually relate to those topics. And it does very much. Number one, it actually fixes the plan, build, run paradigm. It includes a very new, a very important phase we call the deliver phase between build and run, the request to fulfill. And there's nothing else in the market that is alike and fixes that that crossing between the vertical development to operations. So it's very much related to DevOps, but also the vertical consuming and delivery side of the cloud. R2F is a big innovation that IT for IT brought to the market and directly relates to those issues. So the second piece is the value chain thought as such and the concepts that are behind that. Particularly, it implicitly tells you how you need to change your way of collaborating in an end-to-end fashion across the organization. Admittedly, the operating model content is not explicitly articulated yet in the IT for IT standard, so there's room to do more. And I would very much appreciate you bring your experience, join the group, bring your passion, and help us move the standard forward into the new world. Thanks for listening.